Hi everybody, my name is Kane. Alright, so after the previous video of discussing how bad this crossover thing was, we have received 2 new heroes and 2 new units. The pictures you will see here, they are not mine, as I have asked a few people to give me them, since they did pull them themselves. Me personally, I will not get them or focus if they became strong in the future. They break the immersion for me, and the character models themselves, they just don't fit against all the other fantasy units. But that is just me. That aside, looking into the unit stats, it seems that I think both of these SSRs are pretty strong in their skills. However, the roster for the moment will be very lacking, as only 2 units and both are SSR. Very hard to upgrade for many players. Starting with the Assassin, if you guys have seen my Chinese Devil videos, Assassin can most likely become what Devil Awakening is, but just without the Awaken. As silly and stupid as it may sound, this unit can scale to some pretty extreme levels. Of course, without giving proof, such points would be invalid for most, and people would think I am exaggerating. The skill called Assassin Instinct scales by 1% for every skill level you increase. So it starts at 16% unit damage and crit damage, and it stops at 30% at level 15. However, under Ezio's ultimate, this effect doubles, so you can have 60% unit damage and 60% more crit damage just from this one skill, for about 10 seconds or so, if you upgrade the Ezio's ultimate, which is on a fairly short cooldown. And then the next skill, called Chain Attack, increases the assassin in attack speed and critical hit. The effect would triple if he kills a target, so you can assume it is sort of a reset after he kills a target. He enters a stealth for 5 seconds, and stealth makes him not receive any damage whatsoever from units. I am not sure though if this affects any stuns or debuffs from units, if it will be inside the area of effect range. But this can be a pretty strong unit, so heading into the talents, this unit gets unit damage and unit damage reduction %. Unit damage is what matters here a lot. So we have a unit that can have 60% damage from one of his skills, and the talents would also be able to give him about 21%. So that is a total of 81% unit damage on a single unit that you could also increase via emblems. Many tanks can go up to 100% damage reduction, with the exception of a few like Dendroid and Centaur who can go over 100% easy. So in this sense, Assassin would literally make all of those tanks naked. But that is not really the point. The point is, if you put Assassin with something like Dendroid, who would remove 30% defense, and something like Manticore, who would further remove tenacity, defense, and damage reduction, Assassin would amplify some extreme damage on that particular tank, because Manticore and Dendroid alone are able to remove some huge amounts of defenses, and 81% unit damage is something that cannot be avoided. But you may think, yeah, the unit will probably may not do many critical hits and can easily be countered by tenacity emblems. However, if you do not use Assassin emblem, which increases penetration and critical value for the first 30 seconds, yes, that is very possible, because Ezio will only buff 1350 critical value and accuracy to the Assassin, which is similar to that of a successor's legal principles in tenacity. I am not sure how it entirely affects, or it will both negate each other, but these are some pretty huge numbers. Also, to not forget Ezio's specialty, for every melee unit deployed, any charger defensive or offensive, he would increase in 5% unit damage and 3% attack speed. So in this sense, Assassin can go up to 121% unit damage. Honestly, if you would play Assassin and use something like a Jealousy emblem, I can pretty much see this unit being able to close to one-shot anything it walks to in the back line. And if placed with defensive removers, I do not think any tank can survive that, as all the stats can add up to 121% unit damage, 1430 critical value without his 4th skill, and I am also adding some artifact stats in here. and close to 300% critical damage multiplier, so that is pretty much a Naga 2.0, but a lot stronger in my eyes. Whether this is really what happens in practice, I am not sure, but the numbers themselves do seem like it can become something very powerful. Is it worth the costs? Debatable, but the costs are just too insane. If any unit may release, would just be SSR and a buff for the neutral faction. Heading over to the Spartan, off the bat the Spartan warriors are able to reduce the R of the enemy with their trigger skill. That alone is very good if put with some more damage dealers, and it is something that may increase your damage done on the target by a fairly decent amount, especially if you are against a beefy tank. The second skill increase their own unit damage and attack speed. The scaling of this skill is 1% per skill level as well, so you can get 20% damage and 20% attack speed in total. This is a pretty OP skill because it stuns units in a large range, so it is either the tank and anyone behind him, or it stuns a few tanks around the main target. Nevertheless, pretty strong skill. The Spartan bloodline increases in Spartan stats the lower the health he becomes. Again, assuming it is as other skills, this skill may scale 1% per level, so when it drops to below 50%, he would have about 30% attack speed and 30% unit damage. And their last skill, if they do die in battle, they would increase unit damage and unit damage reduction by 5% for all of your field. Talents also increase Spartan's unit damage percent, so added all of these together, add up to 70% unit damage with particular triggers in effect. At the same time, Ezio buffs Spartans with his skill. If you're using Ezio and able to add 40% more unit damage and some attack speed percent. So it all can add up to 110% unit damage. And put with particular defense and DR removals, this can become a beast of a unit as well. How good, I honestly cannot say, but with good emblems and Ezio, who would increase all of this damage and make it mostly criticals, I am safe to say Spartan Warrior can also become a beast of a unit under Ezio. In conclusion, both of these units seem pretty overpowered compared to what SSRs we have now. Some with their first awakening, some with their base. I can think that Assassin and Spartan under Ezio may even perform better than Devil with Awakening, depending how much knowledge the player using them would have to put units under high defense debuffers. Will they awaken these units later? Very questionable, because they received so much hate, anger, and also made a lot of players quit the game by destroying the lore in this game, by adding something like this. But if they would awaken these two, I literally can't imagine these units being able to solo carry battle. Both of these units have their scalings, so in a sense, the only reason they may fall off is because both of them are 4x. In other words, they would take more damage from area of effect, attacks, and hero spells. Other than that, both of these seem pretty much too overpowered as SSR, compared to literally any SSR in the game. They really wanted people to focus these new units, it seems. But there could have been so many other things they could have done. Anyways guys, that is it for this video. Just wanted to talk about the two new units released, and they seem pretty broken as frick to me. Let me know what you also think. Thanks for watching and stay safe.